Hello and welcome to Hannah's Inner Healing channel. So today we are going to talk about identity or the true self. And in these sessions we hope that you will know what a true self is, and you will be able to, discover yourself even by these teachings. My name is Hannah, like I said, Jerry. I have a background, a master's in divinity or in pastoral studies. I have a degree in sociology and politics, and I have a certificate in trauma counseling. Welcome to the show. So today we're discussing about what a true self is. You see, man is a triad. Man has the body, spirit, and the soul. So when God created you and created all of us, He created us, all of us, unique. And that's why you find your fingerprint cannot be compared to someone else's fingerprint, because you're unique the way you are. And when man fell in the Garden of Eden, he lost that touch with God. He lost his identity. Your identity is connected to your purpose and your calling and who you are as a person. So those three things: who you are as a person, your purpose, and your calling. So what is a true self? A true self is someone who appreciates and loves themselves wholly and completely, and does not need external things or people to validate themselves. A true self is able to validate themselves, is able to love themselves, is able to be independent by themselves. And I'm not saying by independent I mean that you will not need other people. No. A true self depends fully on God, but also works and is partners with other people. But depending fully on people is a sign of an identity crisis. So a true self also knows themselves. We know when you discover who you are, then you are able to know your weakness, your strengths, the opportunities, and the threats to your opportunities. So a true self has known who they are, and they appreciate themselves even with their weakness. You see, if you are not a true self, you'll always be feeling bad when people tell you your faults. But when you're a true self, you will know life is a balance. You can have the faults, the weaknesses, and the faults, because that's a balance. That's who you are. A true self also does not need to be validated by other people. A true self is able to validate and affirm themselves. And in our previous videos, I've talked about how you can be able to validate and affirm yourself. You can go and check some of my past videos for more information. So that's what a true self is. Opposite of the true self is the false self. And what is the false self? A false self is someone who's broken on the inside. It's someone who is not complete, and yet God created you to be complete. You are created in the image and likeness of God. You can create like God. You can be able to have higher thoughts, because man, when you look at other animals, man was created by God to rule other animals, so he has a higher IQ, man. And by man I mean human race, not just the man, it means also man, female, the human race. So what are some of the characteristics of a false self? Number one, a false self needs others to validate them. They cannot be able to self-validate or affirm, because they need to be kept telling, oh, you're beautiful, oh, you can do this. But if you're true self, when other people compliment you, and I'm not saying compliments are bad, you don't live off people's compliments. You don't need people's compliments to feel complete. You're already complete in yourself as a person. Number two, a false self always needs to compete with others to feel complete. There are people, because they are constantly living on this thing of how can I one-up this person, how can I be able to come to live beyond this person, and you're competing with other people who are not even part of your race. That is a sign of someone who is broken on the inside. A false self also needs other people to tell them that they love them. They cannot be able to be self-sustaining. It's not bad for someone to tell you they love you, no. But you also need to love yourself, so that even when even when someone comes and tells you they love you, it's just that it's like a secondary thing, because primarily you love yourself. And also a false self seeks to go through expensive surgeries to modify their body so that they can look a certain way, so that people can accept them. So they live off people's acceptance. If people reject them, they feel bad, but they live off people's acceptance. That's what a false self is. In the world we are living in right now, that's why when man fell, he really fell. You find now many people are false selves. And the false self is becomes a toxic person, and that's where narcissists come. I know we'll discuss about narcissism and codependency. Narcissism now is the most toxic of them all. Codependency is people who now depend on other people for their survival to feel good about themselves. Narcissists also, they are broken people who need to dominate and exploit other people to also feel good about themselves. So you know, when you're broken, you cannot be self-sufficient. And when you're broken, you cannot fulfill purpose, because for you to fulfill your purpose, you need to fully understand who you are. You need to fully understand your purpose and your calling that God has for you. And so part of the thing that will help you to discover who you are or to have a true self is self-discovery. The false self has also been accentuated by also media. The media is the one now informing people, oh, you need to be thin, or you need to look like this to look beautiful. You need to be light skin. A false self wants to go for expensive surgeries, like I said, or to buy expensive creams to change your color tone so that people can accept you, or so that you feel beautiful. But when if you're darker pigment, you don't need to go bleach yourself so that you can look lighter to look beautiful. You can be beautiful by yourself, just the way you are. You don't need to look a certain way so that society can accept you. You can accept yourself the way you are, and society will accept you and acknowledge you. You see, when you look at even many people, how they rate themselves, I want a tall, I want a dark, handsome man. That's what they value as handsome. And I'm not saying is there anything wrong with that, but beauty comes from within. Beauty comes from inside out a person. Beauty does not start from the outside to the inside. No, it starts from the inside to the outside. So in our next segment, we are going to discuss how you can recover back your identity if you lost it, and how ways in which you lose your identity. Thank you.